Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation homebrew news and much, much more. So here we are again, back from the holidays. It's 2023. I hope you had a great New Year as well as a Christmas holiday. Okay, so just to get us all on the same page here, they have released a PS5 partition mount, which allows you to mount partitions on the PlayStation 5 that previously was not mountable, meaning that we get read and write access. And they released a couple of different things, with one of them being this theme, as you can see right here. So not only did we get this theme, but we also got another Elden Ring theme, and we can scroll through a couple of the pictures here. And then finally, they had a way to enable the browser permanently, which is going to allow you to maybe bypass some of the methods that we had done in the past with modifying the app.db file and then re-uploading it. This is a bit of an easier way, in my opinion, in order to get a browser that is always displayed on your home menu. So in this video today, I'm going to show you how you can enable a browser permanently. So there is a brand new pack that has come out, and this one is much improved, mainly because there is now a way that you can use FTP with the BD-JB exploit. Now, before we begin, I do want to walk through this folder here. So starting off from the very top here, now this is based off John Tornblom's Elf Loader. So if we go into this, what you will find is you'll find an ISO image. Now, this ISO image does need to be burned to a Blu-ray disc. And typically, I use a program such as Image Burn in order to burn this. So once you get this burned to a disc, then you'll have at least the Elf Loader part of it complete. Now, going back to the main folder here. Now, what's significant about this Elf file is that this Elf file is designed to work with BD-JB. Meaning that in the past, what we had to do was we had to load the exploit with the BD-JB, we had to run this persistent mod, and then we had to go over and use WebKit in order to get FTP. Now we're going to be able to do it all through BD-JB. And don't worry if this sounds a bit confusing, I'm going to walk you through it all in just a moment. So back to the home menu here, and by the way, you will want to download these files as we kind of talk through them. And then you will need to go over to this payload folder here. So if we go into payload, you will see that there is a PS5 PM for persistent mount version 1.1.elf. Now, this works on at least 3.20 systems. So if you do have a 3.20 system, this is the only file that you will need in order to send to your PlayStation 5. Now, if you have another version, and the only reason I'm calling out 3.20 is because that is what I've tested this one on. But if you do have another version of the PlayStation 5, well, then you would just need to send over whichever elf has the folder that you want to modify. So typically, things like the themes are in system ex. So you would just send over this system_ex.elf file. Now, going back to PS5 Custom, here is where the custom themes are at. Now, this is just called PS5 Custom Themes, and you can see there is an Elden Ring theme right here, and then there is two more. Now, going back to the home menu here, there is an RNPS custom application, and this is what you will need to download if you do want to get a persistent browser. So you would go into this lethal.github.io and then just download this file right here. Then once you download that, that is pretty much everything that we will need. And we'll begin by coming back up here to the Elf Loader, and we're going to download this file right here. And then once you load up Image Burn, just select the ISO image, and then you'll just go ahead and burn it. So I've already burned mine, so let's go ahead and let's switch over to the PlayStation 5. Okay, so now that we have the exploit running, we need to go in to the payload folder here and then go ahead and download either the PS5 PM underscore 1.1.elf for 3.20 or 4.50, or download this folder right here if you have any other firmware that is exploitable. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open my command prompt and I'm going to send over this elf right here. Now, it is very important to use the command prompt if you can, only because that way you get an indication of whether or not it was successful once it's sent. And then after I send this one right here, I'm going to simply send the FTP S5.elf right here in order to get FTP access. Okay, so here I am. I opened up Windows Subsystem for Linux, and I am using Ubuntu here. And as you can see, when I list out the elf files that's in this folder, I have that PS5 PM.elf, and then I also have the FTPS5.elf. And here is the command that I sent to the PlayStation 5. So NC for netcat, and then Q0, and then the IP address of my PlayStation 5, the port number at 9020, and then I specified the file type. Now you will see this exit code right here, and if you see invoke with a number like this, then that means it was sent successfully. The next thing is you'll need to send that same command, but send over FTPS5, which I've already done right here. And as you can see right here, there is no exit code, and that is because the FTP is now alive on the PlayStation 5, and it should not exit unless I shut down the PlayStation 5. And again, you will get a kernel panic once you shut down your PS5. But now at this point, I do have FTP access, so now we can do a little bit with the file system. So let's do that now. Okay, so the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just use my site manager, and I have PS5 here, and I have FTP, I have my IP address of my PlayStation 5, along with 1337 for the port number, and then for encryption, I've basically turned it off, and now I'm going to press connect. One of the things that you will notice is that now the system EX folder, which is where this lives, I now have read-write access to it. So I could, if I wanted just to try something out, I could go over here to app and maybe grab one of these apps, and I could copy it back over to my local hard disk drive. And obviously, there is where that is at on my hard disk drive. Now, you would not have had that ability if you hadn't have used the new ELF that allows you to get access or read-write access to these directories. So the very first thing that I think that we would want to do here today is to go ahead and enable a permanent browser. So if we head back over to the mega.nz link and we go down here to permanent browser and then lethal.github.io, I'm just going to select this one right here and I'm going to press download. And here is that folder. Now you will see that there is a manifest.json, there's a license, and then there is just an app.db. If we go into app.db and we go into this 0169 folder, then what we can see is that there is a param.json. So if you want to change the URL, here is where you do that. So you would just take this one right here, and then you would maybe open it up in a code editor such as Visual Studio Code or Notepad. And then right here is where you would change that URL to whatever you would like for it to be. Now I'm going to set mine to just my own personal PS5 exploit page, but you can leave it right here if you would like to. Now, if you change that, just make sure that you go ahead and you save it. And now back over on the PlayStation 5, we're going to go to the RNPS, and then we're going to go to apps, and we're going to scroll all the way down here, and there we can see 0169. And now at this point, you would just simply want to copy all of these over to your PlayStation 5. And one other quick thing to note is that your folder 0169 was more than likely empty when you first went in this. I have went ahead and been exploring a bit with this, so that is why mine already has those files. But once those files are copied over, again, yours should look just like mine, and I'll just navigate into this just a little bit where you can verify that your screen looks just like mine. Okay, so if we go to the internet browser now, there it is. So obviously that makes it a lot easier to get to the exploit versus, coming in here to settings, go into the user guide, using the DNS redirection trick here, typing in the URL, which it can be long if you have to type in some URLs, and then coming over here to R2, done, and then submit. It just makes it a little bit easier to get there, and you do not have to modify the app.db. So a huge win in my opinion. And that is going to do it for this one. I hope this video helped, and I will see you on the next one. Michael, out.